Yes, good morning. We discussed in the last slide by the power of storytelling. Power of storytelling and how we can create the business stories and the stories may be represented maybe in the text format or maybe in the video format or audio format, right? The different stories and we were discussing the minimum essential elements required of storytelling. Essential elements of storytelling, that was characters, conflict, and resolution. Characters are at least one character is required for telling a story. Minimum one character is required for a story, and the maximum may be any number of characters. It depends upon the how long the story is and what basically they are covering. The characters and characters, in case of character, we can have first, we can take the character as first person, second person, or third person, right? And first thing is character should be from your audience. Character must represent your audience. It must be a personality of your buyer persona, of your prospective customers, like the education of the character or paying capacity of the character. That should be from your audience, from your prospective customers. The first thing is, and the second thing is, we should start with whether with first person, second person, or third person. If we are using like we using first person as a character, then we should continue as first person to the whole story. And if we are starting with second person, you and you like, and that should be continued with whole story. And similarly for the third person, and what we should take, whether the first person or the third person or the second person, that depends upon the story, how the story is, and how you it is giving the message, right? That depends upon about this is about the characters. The characters should be from the audience, from the prospective customers, and the character should be whether first person and second person or third person, depends upon the story, what is the story is and what message you want to deliver, and it should be consistently used in the same fashion. The conflict, it is one important part, because without conflict, if there is no conflict in the story, then it means it's not a story exactly. It's a plain statement, or it's a sales statement, or it's something like that. In a story we always have conflict, right? Ups and downs, sometimes happiness, sometimes sorrow, right? Good and bad happens in a story. The conflict must be there, and even the conflict should be how your buyer personas or the prospective customers of your company are facing, what problems they are facing, and at the resolution point you will discuss, you will tell that how you are solving their problem, how your company is going to solving their problem, how the product and services delivered by you are solving the problem, right? So this is the conflict, and that conflict must cover, must be somewhere in vicinity of the product and services or anything you are providing, right? This is resolution will be the part of the product or services you are providing. So storytelling storytelling cannot happen without valuing and understanding your audience. Without valuing and understanding, valuing is, we must value our customers. We must value our customers because they are purchasing, they are saying yes to the product or services we are delivering. Saying yes means they are saying that yes, solution what we are delivering for a particular problem, right? They are accepting it. So we must value, and we must understand that I'm talking again and again, studying buyer personas, knowing your audience, knowing your prospective customers, only then you can storytelling is possible, right? You should always be listening and respond to your audience wants and needs, responding and listening about audience wants and needs, about your customers, existing customers feedback. We must read about the feedback of the existing customers. We must value their suggestions, right? The company must value their suggestions also, suggestions from the prospective customers, right? Only then we can understand what exactly they needs, what modification in a product or in a service we have to introduce. If we will listen to our customers, then then only we will be able to introduce modifications, and then only we will be able to understand what features of our product are good or which are not usable, which features in our product customers not using. We are just wasting money by introducing these features on the product or in the service if they are not valuable, right? So we must listen to our customers, we must respond to our customers, right? These days we have different mediums to listen and to respond because of the internet. A lot of socializing, social media websites are there, social media platforms, websites and other interactive mediums are there to listen and to reply to the customers, and we must be responsive, right? Not only the customer support department or not only the service department should be responsive. Every department of the company, even the finance, even the production, or even everyone should listen and respond positively to customers, right? That is important part. The character is the connection between you, the storyteller, and your audience. That is a connection. Buyer persona, the semi-fictional representation of your ideal buyer, and can help guide you to understanding the goals and challenges that your character will face. Buyer persona is semi-fictional representation of your buyer, of your prospective customer. How your prospective customer looks, how much educated he or she, how much paying capacity he or she have, right? What hobbies, habits, and purchasing habits and thinkings and all these things. We define our buyer personas. That is important part, right? And the conflict is the lesson in how the character transforms through challenges. How the character transforms through challenges. How the character faces the challenges, and how your product, how need of your product is arises, how the need of your product arises, or your product or services arises, right? And if your story lacks conflict, then you are not telling a story. Instead, you are telling a pitch, a tagline, unique selling point, or a plain statement. So there must be a conflict in the story. If there is no conflict, it means you are not telling a story. It is not a story. The conflict should fit your prospects' problems. As I said earlier, the conflict must fit your prospects' problem of your audience, of your prospective customer. Your prospects needs, your prospects buyer's journey stages. What problem your prospect is facing at different levels of buyer journey stages. Like, so these things, the story and the conflict should be like that, right? So if you want to drive a story, because in these days we need to write stories, to tell stories, business stories, and even you are writing a blog, it can be in a story format, and even in a blog there can be multiple stories, there can be multiple small business stories. So you must know how to write a story, or how to tell a business story. The resolution, ultimately the resolution should wrap up the story, but should also clearly call your audience to action. Call your audience to action means now your audience is ready to purchase or something like that. It fulfills the purpose behind the story, because there there is always a purpose behind all the stories. And finally, at the resolution, the resolution should fulfill the purpose of the story. If you want your prospects, your prospective customer now should click on a particular link at the finishing of the story, at the resolution of the story, then they should click. Or you want to your visitors to fulfill the form, a lead generation form, then they should fulfill the form. And or you want to some your users to purchase, they must purchase from your website or from your application, right? It fulfills the purpose behind the story. Your story needs emotional resonance. Emotions are always there because we must make one human connection with the prospects. You must make a human connection with the story, with your prospects. As I said earlier, why and how of the golden circle are human connections, and emotion is what will give your story power. Basically, what gives the story the power is emotions, right? So your story needs emotional resonance, and emotion is what will give your story power. So these are the points how you can develop powerful stories, small business stories on your blog, even on your. Many times you may have seen that many of the users may be in your you may be following or your list or your friends list. They write small stories on whether it is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all, right? It's a one paragraph story and very touching story. Always have a human touch and emotions are there. So you can practice writing such stories with one or two character and with some conflict and some resolution. Right? So three things, as I said: character, conflict, and resolution. Three elements are compulsory there. Use content to create emotional appeal. The content must be used to create emotional appeal to the audience. Be consistent and authentic. Be authentic always. Be honest, right? Be honest. Only then people will trust on you. And consistent. You should create the content in a similar line consistently. It should not be like that you have created one blog today and now you forget, or you are creating a blog in a month, once in a month. That is less. If it's a company, it should create once in a week. Depends upon how much audience you have, right? And at least twice in a month minimum, if anyone once in a week at least should be there. So the consistency in creating content in a particular direction must be there. Keep the story clear and concise. Keep the story clear and concise. So this is all about storytelling, how we can make the content attractive using story in a story format, and the using delivering content in a story format. And for content format, maybe a blog or a video or infographics, but we should be telling stories. And what are the important points for a story, we are making a story, that we have discussed today, right? So these are the points for related to making the content powerful. Now generate content ideas. Content, generate content ideas. How we can generate content ideas? Generating content ideas. Suppose you are a content writer of a company or head of the content team of a company, adding 20, 30 content team, or a team of 20 to 50 content writing people. They may be working on different formats, maybe on video, maybe on some working on video content creation, some are working on infographics, some working on image, some on blog writing text you for the blogs and all, or the web pages. So how you are going to generate new ideas for the content? How you are going to generate new ideas for content? You are not writing content for a single company. We are maybe writing content for multiple clients, maybe for the 100 clients, maybe for 10, 20 clients, and you continuously need ideas to write, right? And you have to write the content for a long period of time, maybe for the 1 year, for 2 years, for a particular client, from where you are going to get these ideas, how you are going to fulfill these requirements, these, right? Generate content ideas. So this is the topic is, the subtopic here is how we can generate content ideas, how we can generate content ideas, right? How we can generate content ideas. Why do you need a process to generate content ideas? For generating such content ideas, we need a process, right? We need a process, right? We will be doing something systematically, and we are generating content. Now you becomes a content generation machine. Ultimately, you want to become a content idea generation machine, content idea generation machine, because you are a content writer or a head of content writer, and you want to be a content idea generation machine, because you need a process. If you are going to work as per that process, then you will work as a machine. Why do you need a process to generate content ideas? Uncover ideas that you may not have come up with on your own, right? Uncover ideas that you may not have come up with your own. Your days are busy, you are very busy, right? Definitely you will run out of good ideas slowly, as you will run out of good ideas slowly. Grow responsibly and keep up with increased demand of new idea generation for the content. A process allow you to come up with a predictable flow of original content ideas. These are the reasons why you need a process, because you days are busy, you will run out of good ideas. Grow responsibly and keep up with increased demand of content idea generation. Uncover ideas that you may not have come up with on your own. So these are the reasons you need to have a process to generate content ideas, and a process allow you to come up with a predictable flow of original content ideas, right? Predictable flow. You can predict that I will be able to write content, I will be able to generate ideas for content ideas, right? Original content ideas in these fields tomorrow, next day, for this period of time, for this long period of time, right? For that we need a process, and what should this process should like, that we will discuss here. Young's thesis is that idea creation is not just about waiting for inspiration to strike. There is a process. The Young's has James Webb Young. The name is James Webb Young, has worked a lot of about idea generation, and what he said that this is that idea creation is not just about waiting for inspiration to strike. There is a process. We cannot wait. We cannot wait that the time will come. As the time will pass, the idea will come automatically, and we cannot wait for that. There is a process. And what he said further, an idea is nothing more nor less than new combination of old elements. An idea is nothing more nor less than a new combination of old elements, right? An idea is nothing more nor less than a new combination of old elements. James said again. It is idea is a new combination of old elements, and some in that combination, some elements may be very old. You study something 2-3 years back or 10 years back. Some may be just you have encountered, or you read something, you study something recently, you go through some content recently, 4, 5, 6 days back, month back, days back. So this is idea is new combination of old elements. These old elements may be, some elements may be very old, and some may be few days or few weeks old or few months old. राइट. तो वी कैन नॉट डिसाइड कौन सा एलिमेंट कितना अलग अलग होगा. द आइडिएशन प्रोसेस, देयर इज अ प्रोसेस. यंग said that James Webb Young said that there is a ideation process, and this process has 4 points. It's a 4-point process. The first one is gathering raw material. Gathering raw material for idea generation. That is the first process. Read and consume content from a wide variety of places. Wide variety of places. That is, if you want to write something, then you have to read lot of things, and these things from wide variety of places. Wide variety means if you want to write something on visit about Missouri, or you want to write something on automobile, right, market, anything, then it means reading or consuming content. Content consumption means reading books, reading different blogs, books and blogs, and wherever how you can read, right? Watching movies. Read and consume content from a wide variety of places. Suppose I have to write a blog on automobiles and I need some ideas. It means not that only I should go for reading about the automobile sector and all. I can read different variety of content. I have to read for different variety of content. Then these elements will mix and will make some idea. The first thing is read and consume content from a wide variety of places. All the writers who write good books, they read lot of books. Suppose they want to write a book now, and they will they will read hundreds of books, thousands of books. Then they write good books, right? You may be knowing that, right? So the first thing is gathering raw material, read and consume content from a wide variety of places. Getting? Read and consume content from a wide variety of places. Next, digesting the material. Looking for relationships, connections, and combinations. Digesting, how you are going to digest that raw material you consume? Looking for relationships, connections, and combinations. Suppose today you have consumed a blog, read a blog, or a book. You finished reading a book of 300 pages last week, in a week. Now just sit. Whenever you finish reading on a daily basis, just sit and synthesize. Synthesize means just mash something in your mind. You think about how things are correlating to each other. How this new knowledge, the new things you consumed is correlated with anything previously you know. Right? That we call making connections and combinations, synthesizing. Just sitting for some time, for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and just try to making connections with that newly consumed content and old relevant things you know. Getting the point? And this is also said synthesizing and sitting and synthesizing and looking for relationships, connections, and combinations. Just sitting and thinking, ruminating this. This is the second step. Now the third step is unconscious processing. Do something else entirely. And the third step, you forget everything. You have to forget everything means the first step you consume content. In the second step, you try to make some relationships and combinations, connections, synthesizing with that new read content and the old knowledge you have. In the third step, forget all this and start working on some other front, entirely different front. Getting the point? Forget the first and second step entirely and relax and happy, enjoy, forget everything. Now in the fourth one is eureka moment. We all know eureka moment. An idea will pop into your head. It will come to you when you are least expecting it. Now the idea, you don't have to think about the idea. The idea will come up automatically, maybe after 2, 3, 4 days, or 10 days, or next day. And the time the idea will come is you will be expecting least. Maybe you will be dressing on the morning or in the evening, right? Or maybe wearing your shoes, or maybe doing something else. The idea will appear, right? So this is ideation process. The 4 points: gathering raw material, that is read and consume content from a variety of places, digesting the material, looking for relationships, connections, and combinations, synthesizing, right? Thinking, making some connection with your new content you consumed and the old knowledge you have, relevant or irrelevant, whatever, and unconscious processing, left the leave all that and do something entirely else, right? And eureka moment, an idea will pop into your head. It will come to you when you are least expecting it. So these are the 4 point. This is a 4 point ideation process, right? 4 point ideation process. And curiosity and the will to act on it is a helpful prerequisite for any content marketer. Any content marketer must have curiosity regarding writing a new content, or working on a new project, or developing a new content, right? Two ways to generate content ideas, whether by yourself with a group. We can generate content ideas by our own, or in a group, in a team, right? If you are working on content idea generation by yourself, then what you have to do is, what are your buyer personas reading habits? Because you are generating content ideas alone, so you must know what are your buyer personas reading habits. You must know what are habits of your buyer personas, your prospective customers, where they read, whether they read only on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, or they read blogs, right? You know, as per their personality, they read blog, or they read only on social media. They makes themselves aware only from the social media, or they are reading some books, or they are reading blogs, or they are watching some videos and all. What are their learning habits? What are the habits they have for updating their knowledge about any product or about anything, right? What are your buyer personas reading habits? You must know. What are your competitors doing? What are the competitors doing? Which types of content they are creating, right? Similarly, competitor, you and your competitor are working on same buyer personas, working for same audience, for the same segment, for the same uh, prospective customer you both have. So you must know what exactly your competitor is doing, which types of content they are writing, on which type of content they are working, the competitors are working, right? Third point is, what are people talking about on Quora, right? Quora, answer.com, many such websites are there where people ask questions. So you can check relevant to your field, pertaining to your business. What people are asking about the topic relevant to your business, about the topic your product and service or services are providing, right? So you can check on different social media websites also. We can check from Google Trends what is happening, what is trending there, relevant to your business or your product or services you are providing. So different other tools are there which tells us about what people are sharing on social media these days, which types of content users are sharing and reading most in social media, whether it is a blog or a video they are watching, right? So we can find out easily. And what can you learn from your search engine optimization factors? Because search engine optimization factors, as I said, we can do keyword analysis, keyword research also. Which keyword, as during the keyword study we discussed about how we research the keyword, and Google Trends and all we can find out, right? What can you learn from your search engine optimizing efforts? Even we can find from Google Search Console. Google Search Console tells us in detail that what what search queries users or customers are entering to find our website, what queries they are search queries they are using to reach our website or our blog. So we can take help from different online tools, online websites, or social media, non-social media websites to find out, to can take help from regarding that content generating content as ideas for your own, right? For generating content ideas for your own, or two ways to leverage, other ways to leverage, as I told about the Google Trends and told about the Google Search Console. Apart from that, the Google website we can help autocomplete and related searches. Autocomplete is when we start typing something on Google, it shows that similar other things are searches by people. So it shows you, suppose you are typing some visiting places, then it will show down down keyword people have searches similar things. And related searches are at the end of the search engine result pages, at the end of the result. So these are the two mediums, two ways on Google you can find out, right? And this is about knowing about the content. And if you are working on a team for generating the content ideas, if you are working on a team for generating content ideas, then pick someone to moderate and set a clear agenda. Means if suppose you have a team of 5-6 people is working or brainstorming for generating content, in 5-6 people there should be one person who moderates and takes the discussion or takes the content generation, that brainstorming in a particular direction, right? The first thing is. The second one is create an atmosphere where people feel comfortable so that everyone can speak. If organization hierarchy is there among the team members, 5-6 team members maybe 20. If hierarchy is there, then make atmosphere, then everyone can speak. The next point is leverage brain dumps. Brain dumps is jotting down everything in your mind, or everything in any team member's mind. Just note down, just make a note of everything comes up from any team member's mind, right? Next is use sticky notes, whiteboards and other visual aids. Notes and whiteboards aids to jot down or note down, leveraging their brain dumps. And remember that the main goal is to generate new unexpected ideas, right? But the brainstorming, again, for the brainstorming you need to consume content on regular basis, right? So this is the process, we can say, content creation, new idea generation process, generate content idea generation process, right? And these are the ways how we can generate content regularly, right? So this is for the day, for today, and today or tomorrow we'll discuss about further about the content, how we can create the better content, right? How we can create the better content tomorrow. we will discuss about long term content planning, because we need to plan for the long term, not for the short term, right? So we will discuss tomorrow that point. Thank you.